How do you feel that the Khalsa, how it's expanding globally? Do you have any kind of feelings about that, like the way that Sikhi has spread all over the world and particularly into the West in our cases?
It's a challenge sometimes because other religions, they're evangelical, so everybody sort of knows who they are and what they believe. And I see a lot of converts and attention being put on those faiths which we know. But with us, we're sort of hidden, and so I think that um, it's a little slower for us to get out there and in the open and sort of show the world who we are. So I don't know if you would agree with that, but it seems to me, just based on my reactions from people, looking at my kirpan, looking at me, it's a constant, you know, education uh, moment, um, and only a few people who come up to me and is like, "Oh yeah, are you Sikh?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." "Oh, I love you guys." "Yeah, much respect." And like, I don't get that a lot, unfortunately. So I think in some ways we could kind of have to do a little better. I don't mean like we have to go knocking on people's doors or being, evangelical or anything like that. But I think we need to start inviting people to the Gurdwara and just like really getting out there and just showing people who we are. We don't believe that, unless you're a Sikh, you're not going to heaven. So that there's a reason there for us not to feel like we have to be evangelical, you know.
Yeah.
We come and we say, "No, you are right. No, you're right. You're also right." Like it's not that we're right and you're wrong. That's not the spirit that we operate in. Um, it's a more of a union between all human beings, no matter what part of the world you come from. So, but at the same time, it does us our disservice when we have so many people who don't know who we are. We could do better, And it's about really going within yourself, figuring out like what you feel really matters in life, and what are your priorities. It's not about trying to please God, uh, like so many other faiths is. I don't think we need to please God. I think we need to just respect that there's karma uh, for your actions and to live a decent life where we regard all human beings equally and have respect for all of God's creation and take care of it.
I feel like within the last maybe 10 years, maybe less, people talk a lot about how being present or trying to be present is really beneficial for your mental health, is really beneficial for your well-being. That shifting into neutral, like you said, nothing is good or bad. It's an experience that you must have
Hmm.
in order to learn something to prepare you for what's coming next. Um,
Yeah, and you end up
and
standing back. You're like, "Oh my God, I'm more successful at work. I'm a better parent. I'm a this. I'm a that." You're like, "Well, you know, I guess it isn't really that difficult."
family and friends, maybe there's an adjustment period to how you changed becoming a Sikh. Like for me, my family, they're luckily they're very good about the unconditional love because we're family thing, and they say you're so happy, you're so much happier than you were before. If you're happy, we love to see you happy, so it's fine with us. How did your family really react to you, changing your lifestyle and who you were, and also your appearance? If you could, if you'd want to share that.
Yeah, I got it easy. I mean, my parents supported me through it. They came to Gurdwara with me, and they said, this is for you, Harpreet. This is a good move right here. We support you on that. And then they saw the positive changes in my life. I had more focus, more direction. I started being yeah, like you fellas, more positive. Um, yeah, I was maturing. Um, and yeah, they were like, yeah, there's something to this. And we want you to be the best at what you chose for yourself.
But I remember my dad saying, like, this is totally for you because you've been riding horses and shooting guns and beating up boys since you were, since you could, walk. He's like, this is totally for you.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and then something else I really like to ask is there anything that you could think of right away, some advice that you would have for people who are coming into Sikhi, or you know they have converted or they're considering converting, um, and once again, we don't believe in conversion. These are people who have discovered it for themselves and are thinking about, maybe this lifestyle is for me, maybe this is what I want to do with my life. Do you have
I
any
would
advice
say
for them?
just, yep, I would just spend time with themselves, you know. And I would say that if you're planning on taking Amrit, hang out with Amritdaris before you take Amrit. Just make sure you surround yourself with some awesome Sikhs who are knowledgeable, who are really positive attitude, and just ask them questions. What does this mean? How, and ask them personal questions. What was your journey when you took Amrit? How do you feel about your Amrit now versus when you took it? You know, what are you getting out of it? Why do you feel like you should take Amrit? Like, are you that much better of a Sikh just because you took Amrit, or is it like, what does that Amrit mean? And I think it's going to be a little different from each person, but um, it's better to get your questions out, and then I would say don't delay. You know, take Amrit, and take Amrit in such a way that you feel like, well, if I do make a mistake, we're all human. I'm not holier. You don't have to be holier. Thou art they.
Holier
Holier
than
than
thou.
holier than thou. There's room for improvement. And if you have to take Amrit again, take it again. Have the dignity and self-respect to be graceful with yourself and try it again, and keep trying. And in my case, I took Amrit I don't know how many times, and I'm at a point where now I don't have to take it again because I got all that stuff out of the way. I really needed time to develop myself and overcome my bad habits. And a lot of these habits were just me being a Western person growing up in America,
Yeah.
right? They're just taught to you, they're expected of you. So, like, be gentle with yourself, be graceful. Don't feel like you need to get it all done within one moment of taking Amrit. Like, oh, well, I have to just, you know,
Be perfect now.
be perfect. And it's like, and so
And if
many
I'm not, it's the end of
Punjabis,
the world.
yeah, so many Punjabis are like, oh, I'm not good enough to take Amrit. And, it's like, you know, nobody's good enough to take Amrit. I mean, that's why Amrit is given to us, because you aren't enough.
Yeah.
You're not enough. So Guru Sahib gave us this Amrit so that we could be enough. It's like a highway. You take that Amrit, gives you faster results toward, the ultimate goal. You
Yeah.
know, if
It's
I
a really
didn't take Amrit,
transformative experience.
totally. If I didn't take Amrit, it would have been like the same old idiot Harpreet for many lifetimes. But luckily, it took me, 5 to 10 years of me getting my bad habits dealt with,
Yeah.
right? So, I think people are just looking at Amrit as totally wrong, something that it's not. We
Yeah.
all deserve Amrit.
Mm. I think maybe that if we reflect maybe on so Amrit is not baptism in the Christian sense, but if we look at kind of how that's viewed, it's that when Christians become baptized, that they're a new person, but they realize that now that I did that, I should be trying my best, but it doesn't mean I won't make mistakes. And if I do, I can ask God or the Lord, however they're viewing that, for forgiveness and do my best not to make the same mistake again. And I think that that's a really healthy view, that we, like you're saying, we could kind of apply to Amrit, because Amrit is a gift, you know, and it is available to all Sikhs.
But in Christianity, it seals the deal. Jesus
R-
died for your sins. That's it. If you're baptized, you're forgiven. Like,
yeah,
you try your best, but you don't have to try too hard, because Jesus already paid the price, right? But
mm,
for us, it's like, yeah, we get baptized, but that doesn't mean there's no karma, is there? There's
mm,
still You still are held responsible for your actions. Let me tell you this. The thing that I feel is the number one problem in America is not cell phones, computers with kids and all that stuff. I think it goes right down to diet, you know? Um, you take any animal in the world, it knows its optimum diet. It knows exactly what it needs to eat at exactly the right time where there's a nutrient deficiency. Now, us in America, we don't even know that corn syrup is bad for you.
right,
We don't know. We're wondering why GMOs are so bad. You know, we
right,
have we have food that are made in a lab. How is that good for you? I mean,
right,
right? Our Wonder Bread is banned in Europe. It's banned.
yeah,
Like, yellow, all the dyes we put in candy for kids is banned in Europe. Like,
yeah,
it causes Alzheimer's, it causes cancer, diabetes, all that stuff,
yeah.
you
The
know?
health problems we have in this
So
country, people are just saying,
how on
"Oh,
how on earth are our kids gonna compete with the rest of the world in terms of education and advancement if they can't even focus because
yeah,
they're
the
not getting
nutrient
the
deficient."
nutrients they need,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So if you can't be at the best of your ability, there's no way you can compete,
yeah. Absolutely, I
right?
agree with that.
So, like, I think that is the number one problem, and I think that explains the crime rate. in this country. In fact, I think it goes into our decision making, our emotional state, our psychological state, our physical state. I think it affects everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I know I feel my best when I'm eating properly, and if I don't, then I really feel it. But if you're used to feeling like garbage all the time because all you eat is garbage, then there has to be somewhere in there where you have that experience of eating something nutritious and being like, wow, I actually don't feel like garbage. Maybe I could do that all the time.
And it's exactly where theists argue with atheists. Atheists feel, they're just doing their thing, living. They haven't gotten a divine experience that shows them that God is present.
Once I felt that first time that I connected, and I was like, whoa, that's what is that? And how can I have that? How can I experience that again? And that's when I really went on my search.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think you're right.
I
They have to
got
have
it
that
too.
experience.
So when I look at atheists, I say, well, really, they're innocent, just like I was when I was a teenager. I wanted to believe in something. I even expressed that to people. I want to know God,
Yeah,
you know, but for lack of information or ability, they couldn't give me that experience.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I grew up in a deeply religious family, and I don't want to say deeply religious, like, especially my mom. She has a really deep connection, and she's, a personal relationship with Christ. And growing up, I just never got it. I'm like, I just don't get it. I had so many questions. And I would ask them, and I was able to ask them, especially with my father, to discuss those things. And I don't know, I just I felt that I still wasn't, though, because we were so kind of cornered into this idea that unless you accept Christ as your savior, there is no salvation. And that was really scary for me as a child. I didn't understand why that was, and it did scare me away from exploring, or I just didn't feel like I could explore, but I wasn't allowed to move in any direction that wasn't in line with my family's beliefs. And so in high school, my goal was just to honestly get out of the town I was in. I said, I'm going to get good grades. I'm not going to get into any trouble. I don't care about boys. And I'm going to go join the Air Force and see the world and experience. And I'm going to find out some stuff for myself. I just really wanted to go forth and experience things. Like I said, at that point, I had a lot of access to the internet, and it just all started clicking. But I never really understood my mom's devotion and what she was talking about, and and understand how someone could say they have a personal relationship with God until I became a Sikh. Then I understood.
Yeah,
Oh, Jesus is her guru.
yeah,
That's why. That's it. That's it. And and in Sikh we were talk about, that one must have a guru. Um, I don't know. It all clicked for me over the past years. That I started, like I said, I saw it in a book when I was 7, and then when I was probably 21, I really started moving towards it. And then about 10, 11 years ago, um, stepped into the Gurdwara, put on the dastar, because the turban, because I felt that finally I really understood who I am and what I wanted for myself. And maybe that there's a responsibility to wearing the dastar.
for us, it's like if everybody knows we're sick, well, they know if something bad happens, we're gonna be the first responders to the scene.
Yeah.
you know, and that we're the people that's going to help.
Yeah, it's
Like,
incumbent upon us.
yeah. So, but if we're like, oh well, I'm just lazy today. I'm just going to wear my hair down, whatever. Then it's like, well, you missed an opportunity to really be of service there because no one could recognize who you were,
Yeah.
you know.
And when I'm out and
And
about and I see other
as
turban
people
Sikhs,
start to realize who we are, then they will realize, oh yeah, this is the first responder. He's a Sikh, you
yeah.
know. Yeah, you know. But right now, it's kind of like, well, who is this person who's, I'm just another religious person to them.
Oh, and I do get sometimes people do approach me, especially if I'm wearing bana, the full stick dress. They're just kind of like, I'm sorry, I have to ask. Like, are you going to Comic-Con or is this like, what is this? And I have the pamphlets. Mostly people, when they ask you, maybe they have time to talk and that's why they went ahead and asked the questions. But,
Yeah, I find like
and
I
having
don't
them.
have the time. I just
Yeah.
don't have the time to give people exactly what I feel they need to know.
Yeah.
Um, and then I sort of scrambling between what I feel is most relevant and what's least. So yeah, like you said, these pamphlets, I think I'm gonna go ahead and order them
Yeah. And it's the
because
Sikh
then I can just.
Coalition.org. It's for the benefit of humanity. Sarbatta Bala. So that
But
all of humanity will
yeah,
the well-being of
it's
all
not.
humanity.
Yeah, it's not that we want to make Sikhs. There's already Sikhs out there. They just didn't know that there was a religion to support who they are and what beliefs they hold.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's already Sikhs out there. So we need to reach those Sikhs and say, hey,
Hey, we're the we're the we're the friends you've been looking for.
right,